We got pending home sales yesterday. Can you give us a gauge on where the industry is and where some of your concerns are moving forward?
My concerns long term are we're seeing a dramatic reduction in normal production. So over the last 40 years, we used to produce on average 1.6 million units of new homes or new construction starts per year. We're tracking at 532,000 units. That's off 1.1 million units. We're anticipating that we'll have a shortage of approximately 1.4 million units of new housing by the end of 2010. And the reason you need housing, you even have to build houses during a recession. The reason for that is because we've got a population growth constant of 1% per year that's been going on for 40 years. It's the only constant.
Sure, but you have to get credit, though. No one really buys a house in cash.
Lately, there's been a lot of the distressed acquisitions have been via cash.
And you can get them, it's a good point, you can get them for really low prices. If you were, where's your most concern? Is it about the job market or is it about the housing market?
It's about the job market short term. Long term, I think in 2011 and 2012, we're going to see a dramatic spike in new construction. Reason being is we're going to be facing a shortage. So new product is going to fly off the shelf.
So what do you think, Mike, comes back first if we're looking at this recovery from the recession? Is it the job market? Is it the housing market? Is it that credit resumes? What do you think needs to happen first?
Let's look at, there are different markets. Let's look at the capital markets. The capital markets are in a healing process, and the wounds are not completely healed over, but that is improving. And as the capital markets improve, more capital becomes available to finance home acquisition. And I think a better employment picture gives people more confidence to then go out and buy homes. So I think those two things are interrelated.
Now, it's interesting you bring up the capital markets because one of the stories we were watching today is that PPIP program that really hasn't gotten off the ground. And the whole talk, of course, about TARP and this PPIP is that these banks and the capital markets overall need these toxic assets to get out of the way of growth. So do you think we need that PPIP program to get those capital markets back up and completely wound-free, as you were mentioning?
The PPIP program has many hesitant participants because if they were to dare to make, quote-unquote, too much money, they're concerned that through some tax or through some other public mechanism, they'll be disgorged of those profits.
But do you think we need it?
I think it'd be helpful for there to be a market for those loans. I'm not sure it's the government's place at this point to finance the acquisition of those loans. I think that market is healing on its own, and I would venture to guess there'll be some transactions in PPIP, but at this point, let the banks sell for real market prices.
You know, Ashley, it brings up the question of whether or not the idea of PPIP might actually be better than actually the operation of it.
Yeah, maybe the theory as opposed to the actual implementation. You know, it's interesting, there was a very interesting discussion on the BBC actually yesterday about the health of the banks, and the overall consensus was that the US and UK banks are about halfway through dealing with these toxic assets and these write-downs on their books, whereas the Eurozone banks were only a third of their way through. So there was a real concern that we're not out of the woods when it comes to the financial sector.
And that's a good point. Again, cautiously moving in. Big jobs report today, of course. I don't know if we've mentioned that so far. Mike, Steve, great to have you guys. First time on Fox Business Morning. Hopefully it wasn't too painful.
No, enjoyed it.
You all right?
Yeah,
you guys are going to leave? I know it's early. You made it through, Mike. It's nice that they're honest. It's good. We hope to see both of you back. It was really a pleasure to have you. And Ashley, I guess